Our story begins in the land of Oz. Once upon a time there lived three friends. Three magical beings that came to be known as witches. Glinda, the good witch of the south. Locasta, the good witch of the north. And Nessarosa, the good witch of the east. Sometime in the past, a terrible accident happened that injured Nessarosa, and she lost her powers. So, she went to the Emerald City to ask the Wizard of Oz to help her gain her powers back. The wizard did teach her how to practice magic again, and they fell in love. And so it came that Nessarosa conceived the wizard's baby. One day, Glinda saw Nessarosa spinning straw into gold. She asked her, "How did you learn this magic?" To which Nessarosa replied, "The wizard taught me, of course." Then Glinda said in shock, "Oh Nessa, we have been deceived. The only person that knows how to spin straw into gold is none other than the wicked Rumpelstiltskin. And he always demands a child as payment." To save the baby, the three witches conjured a spell to banish Rumpelstiltskin from Oz forever.
Miss Vanjie! Miss Vanjie! Miss Vanjie!
They also established a false wizard in his place, to keep appearances and the public from panicking. Nessarosa gave her daughter an enchanted name. A name that protects the name-bearer from the eyes of Rumpelstiltskin. She then left her baby to the care of another family to raise her and keep her safe. Nessarosa then secluded herself in the east, but Rumpelstiltskin, even from another realm, spread rumors that Nessa abducts children and plans to destroy the land. The people of Oz then started sending hunting parties to kill the wicked witch of the east. Gradually, sadness darkened Nessarosa's heart, and she began to commune with sinister forces to keep her child safe even from afar. And sinister forces replied and poisoned her mind. And when her daughter came of age, she convinced Glinda and Locasta that they should invite her to be a part of their group as the Witch of the West, to learn to control her magic.
Oh, y'all wanted a twist, eh? Come on, season 6, let's get sick me!
The child felt different all her life, and people were malicious to her. Nessarosa gifted her daughter a beautiful emerald pendant that helped her control her powers. The other witches did wonder about the source of the pendant, but they pressed Nessa no more as she had faced great suffering. However, the girl later falls in love with a woodcutter. Nessarosa, deep in her hate and mistrust, thinking that it was another plot by Rumpelstiltskin, tore the woodcutter's heart. Thus, he became an empty husk that could not love anyone. Glinda and Locasta were suspicious of Nessa's involvement, but nobody expected the next events. Darkness burst forth from the Witch of the West and destruction started spreading across Oz, threatening to annihilate all. Glinda, Locasta, and Nessarosa expended all their powers to halt the destruction, for as long as their magic holds, setting the land of Oz in a dreamlike state, while hiding the dream where no one could find it. Each member of the trio knows only one of the three clues needed to pinpoint the location of Oz. The three witches, with little power left, escaped to a faraway realm, the Blessed Dominion, and changed their names. Glinda became Ariana. Locasta became Gothel. And Nessarosa became Elzarina, who influenced greatly the future of all. The three former witches arrived in the outskirts of the Kingdom of Mercia, and that place forevermore is considered a strong magic region. They since lived with little to no magic in their new home, however, as they were magical creatures, they were blessed with longevity and eternal youth, if they so desired.
How fresh I look, my god! How fresh I look, my god!
The group attended numerous balls as Glinda was captivated by the royal life. In one such ball, the girls met King Frederick and thus a love triangle is born. Elzarina Nessarosa fell deeply in love with him though she kept it a secret. Frederick fell in love with Ariana Glinda and proposed to her. However, she fell in love with the king's jester, Jack, who hailed from another realm, Wonderland. Ariana reluctantly marries the king and becomes queen of Mercia. Elzarina decided to stay with them in the castle, becoming the queen's maid, while Gothalocasta secluded herself in the woods, searching for the cause of destruction of their homeland and how to bring it back. She also became aware of the love triangle, and she wishes to steer clear of the drama. Elzarina Nessa also harbored another secret from her friends. Because she loved the use of magic, she kept her connection to the sinister forces to find a way to save Oz and her lost daughter. Not long after the wedding, Ariana gets pregnant. No one knew that the baby's father was Jack. Elzarina could not get over her love for King Frederick, and she casted a curse on him, rendering him unable to love. From this point on, the king becomes cruel to Ariana. However, Elzarina stabbed herself in the foot because now the king will never be able to love anyone, not even her. Ariana falls ill from her sadness, and the life of the baby she carries is threatened. Gothel cannot save the baby because her magic is not strong enough after the saving of Oz, and she cannot comprehend the root of the baby's sickness. Only the gods know that the baby is sick because it is an offspring of two worlds with different laws of time. Elzarina, in a moment of remorse, uses her connection with the dark forces to save the baby. The pregnancy is saved, and Gothel grows even more suspicious of Elzarina, but she remains silent.
Rachel, do I blame her? What did I do? I'm sure you did something.
She senses that whatever she did, it strengthened the baby, but also Ariana, who carried it. Months pass and the baby is about to be born. All this time, Jack pushed Ariana to leave with him and go save his realm, as he was sure that she was the prophesied savior of Wonderland. Ariana did not want to leave her friends, but she also cannot accept the cruelty of her husband. With the help of Gothel, she plans to kill him to save herself and the kingdom, and to be sure that her baby will live in happiness. Ariana recorded all her thoughts in her diary, and when Elzarina read it, she panicked, as she could not let Frederick die, even if he never dropped a glance at her.
You'll never be Glenn. Boo, just because you got a sugar daddy who pays for everything for you. Oh.
The day comes when the child is born. The only ones present at birth are Ariana, Gothel, and the nanny Rosalba. And then, the baby girl comes out of the womb with hair shiny as gold. When Gothel saw the golden hair, she immediately concluded that Rumpelstiltskin was once again pulling the strings. He once again manipulated Elzarina, saved the baby, and now will come to claim her as his prize. Ariana goes forth with the plan to kill Frederick, but Elzarina created a summoning circle, calling an imp that managed to push back Ariana just before she can kill the king. Her knife, however, did manage to wound him in the face forever. Gothel then used the last traces of magic that she possessed to help Ariana escape to Wonderland with her lover, Jack. Gothel then took the baby girl and secluded herself in her tower deep in the forest, that she enchanted to be difficult to find. She also gave the girl an enchanted name, Rapunzel, to keep Rumpelstiltskin from finding her. However, she did commit questionable deeds. She stole the egg from Hugo the dragon, and she raised the small dragon, Penelope, to guard them, while also gradually siphoning magical draconic energy to keep her protective spells working. She never spoke with Elzarina again, but she always gathered information from many sources about the state of the kingdom. And so, she raised Rapunzel in her tower, secluded, restrained, and safe. Rapunzel would look at the bright lights every year from the window of the tower and would wish to be able to see them up close. Meanwhile, the king spread the fake rumor that elf assassins have attacked and killed the queen and injured him, and they have taken the princess. The Kingdom of Mercia hosts a feast annually on the princess's birthday, the 21st of March, to celebrate spring, and they release lanterns in the sky, hoping that the lost princess will see them and find her way back to them. Elzarina stayed by Frederick's side, and every year, on the day of the spring festival, she ventured in the baby's room to keep the summoning circle closed. Only she was allowed to enter the room, and she would always shed a tear, as she thought that the princess was not lost, but was killed by her summoned imp.
Με ένα μικρό μαχαίρι που ούτε καν χέρι δεν το πιάνει. Καν δυο, καν τρεις θα ήταν η ώρα. Δυο παλικάρια σφάχτηκαν για αγάπη. Γειτόνισσες! Μπορεί.
One person in the castle, however, knew another story. Nanny Rosalba found the last diary of the queen, burned by Elzarina, and tore the last page that painted a whole different picture of the situation. She was sure that the queen tried to kill the king. But life in the kingdom continued as it should. Frederick did not show any concern for governing the kingdom, so other factions rose to claim power. The magistrate that practiced the old ways was the de facto ruler. The head of the magistrate was always chosen among the old mage families of Mercia. Some years ago, the Akashi family secured the spot of the magistrate head by gifting one of their daughters, Sakura, to the rival Moda family who wiped her memory. A gifted student of the Akashi family, Kirai, killed his master and stole the heroic spirit that he had summoned, Gilgamesh, a king of the ancient past. He also joined the church that worshipped the unnamed god, became its local leader with the help of his spirit, and began to work on his plan to create a holy grail, the embodiment of primordial chaos. To do this, he needed to harvest countless souls and enact the materialization of souls in a larger scale, the sensus celestis. He manipulated a siren that visited the inland waters by building a dam that trapped her. He then sent naive people to their doom as their souls became trapped in the siren's waters. He was also responsible for the accident in the mines that cost the lives of many workers. Kirai had close ties with Elzarina, and she told him that for his plan to work he needed a powerful siphon of primordial magic, something touched by strong good and evil at the same time. Kirai also became the legal guardian of the other heir of Akashi family, Rin, who managed to summon a heroic spirit of the future, Archie, but Kirai wiped her memory so that she could not interfere with his plan.
So how did everybody feel?
About what?
When Rapunzel would turn 18, the twists of fate led a young prince, Zarathras, to the tower when Gothel was away. Rapunzel and Zarathras fell in love, and he would visit her up her tower. Gothel monitored closely the situation and grew suspicious of Zarathras and how he managed to find the enchanted tower. Rapunzel and Zarathras decided to finally go see the lights up close and experience the spring festival. The couple met the famous singer, Lady Petula, and she showed Rapunzel the lantern that is released. When they both touched the lantern, it was infused with great power of good and evil. When Lady Petula gifted the lantern to the heroes after her performance, Kirai knew that his time of waiting is finally over, and he had to snatch it. Unbeknownst to them, Rumpelstiltskin spied on the festival and had interest in the girl with the golden hair. Could she be a lost prize? He thought. He sent imps to capture her. One imp mistakenly attacked Lady Petula during the festival, as it was drawn to Rapunzel's hair that was stuck on her from their hug. Elzarina panicked, as she thought that the summoning circle had been opened. She then fought to death to protect her secrets, but in the last moment she broke the spell that kept the king cursed.
Sue me. I think I might.
The king awakens, and along with the council, he enters again the game of political power in Mercia. The other imp captured Rapunzel, but when it ventured through the woods, Penelope the dragon defeated it and saved her sister. Rumpelstiltskin could not find the tower, so he thought of another plan. He transformed into Prince Zarathras while banishing the latter in the form of a deer in the woods. Gothel, who secretly followed the couple, saw Rumpelstiltskin transforming into Zarathras and thought that he was posing as the prince all along. She rushed to the tower to save Rapunzel. However, Rumpelstiltskin summoned a huge mist cloud that hindered her path. When the heroes and Rumpelstiltskin, posing as Sarautras, arrived at the tower with the help of Hugo the Dragon, they greeted Lady Petula, who tried to help them open the tower's gate. She called the spirit of the deceased Elzarina Nessarosa, who told their tragic story.
Ανίτε, καλησπέρα.
Καλώς ήρθατε, Ελένη
Όπου
μου.
πάω, αγαπάω.
Όπου πάτε, αγαπάτε. Αυτό είναι το πιο ωραίο πράγμα.
Και πληρώνω τα λάθη μου αυτή τη
Γιατί
στιγμή.
κλαίτε με το καλημέρα.
When Lady Petula perceived that Zarautras was not the real one, she stabbed him, and a fight ensued between her and Rumpelstiltskin that resulted in both entities banishing each other. The large burst of light helped Mother God Hel pinpoint the location of the tower. The heroes find the real Zarautras with the help of Penelope, and they enter the tower where they reunite with Rapunzel. However, Gothel appears soon. Panic-stricken, she stabs the prince and pushes him from the tower, although unbeknownst to them, Penelope transported him to safety. Rapunzel's emotions go awry, and a huge burst of dark energy erupts, while her hair lose their golden shine and instead a red hue starts to form.
Είχα κάνει τόσο όνειρο με αυτόν τον άνθρωπο, Ελένη. Μερικές κόκκινες αντάβιες θα με φώτιζαν. Ο Θεός πρέπει να σε φωτίσει εσένα.
Whatever happened to Rapunzel seemed to affect Merlin in some strange way. Gothel, recognizing the same clues from the destruction of Oz, uses the last of her lost magic to open a portal to Wonderland through the looking glass and push Rapunzel there. She hopes that the different flow of time in this other realm will give the heroes enough time to save her and the world from destruction. With 2 of the 3 witches gone, only Glinda remains as the final seal of Oz, and one clue has been gained. The answer lies in the source of all the world's waters. Gothel also suggests that the heroes seek help from Rin and then fades away. The group uses Gothel's tower as their hideout with Pom Pom, the duck former librarian aspiring pop star, as their helper. To open the closed portal in the mirror, they seek Rin's help. Rin, though distrustful of Kyrie, but considering his vast knowledge, guides the heroes to his church's office. Kyrie explains that for the portal to open, the heroes need firstly, something from the person that traversed the portal. They have a strand of Rapunzel's hair from Lady Petula. Secondly, something from the place they want to reach. This item will be a heart talisman that an alternate version of Jack brought with him when escaping Wonderland the second time. It lies deep in the mines after the siren pitted him, for she sensed that their fates were very much alike. Thirdly, a powerful source of magic. This magic will be the tears that Penelope sheds, as she protects the unconscious Sarautras in the strong magic region of Mercia. Fourthly, an incantation scroll provided by the head of the magistrate, Ilya, to prove that she is worthier than Rin.
Because I am what? Sickening. You could never have a sugar daddy because you are not that kind of girl. Baby, everything I've had, I've worked for and I've gotten myself. I built myself from the ground up.
Lastly, and lying to the heroes, he claimed that they needed something to reveal the lost magic, the lantern of Lady Petula. The previous day, Elzarina had appeared in Kyrie's dream and asked him to help the heroes in opening the portal, but he used them to honor his friend's wishes, while also achieving his sinister goal.
I look pretty good for a dead bitch.
After a long search,
Μπήκαμε στο γραφείο του Μακαρίτη.
Ναι.
Μπήκαμε και στο σπίτι του, που παραλίγο να μας πιάσουνε κιόλας. Με τρέχατε μέσα στα καρκαΐλια, στο κάμπινγκ να παίζω beach volley. Μπήκαμε νυχτιάτικα μέσα στο γραφείο της Ζάνας. Τρέχαμε μέσα στους δρόμους μέχρι το τραπεζάκι. Να πατήσει ο άλλος πάνω να δώσει τα κλειδιά στην Αμαλία. Το θυμάστε αυτό? Τι είναι πρώτο θυμηθώ, Παναγία.
And a successful jailbreak.
Αλλά από όλα τα σχέδια που σκεφτήκατε, αυτό είναι το πιο ηλίθιο, με διαφορά.
Φτάσαμε.
The heroes get their hands on all the ingredients after bidding farewell to Lady Petula that saved them a second time. However, Gilgamesh, whom the heroes encountered many times in their search, steals the lantern and helps Kyrie create his holy grail, a dripping black hole above Mercia. The heroes manage to defeat Gilgamesh and Kyrie with the combined efforts of the state, the magistrate, and the church. The destroyed dam releases the trapped souls including Gilgamesh, while killing Kyrie. Rin was saved by Archie, who used his magic to guard her. All this time he tried to stop her from saving him in the future, because a hero's life is full of burden, but he realized that the world needs Rin. Peace is celebrated with a big wedding and all the parties vow for cooperation. Rin helps the heroes open the mirror portal.
Escucha las palabras de las brujas, los secretos escondidos en la noche, los antiguos dioses invocamos ahora, la obra de la magia oculta.
And they venture into Wonderland just as a letter arrives from Merlin.
Girl, look at us.
Get up in the mirror, girl.
This is a really good picture. Okay.
Wonderland exists in a perpetual self-sustaining time loop due to the actions of Kronos and the involved characters. Everyone in Wonderland knows that the realm faced a great catastrophe in the past. There is a prophecy that the same disaster will happen again, but someone from the Blessed Dominion will arrive to save the world.
Εδώ, ό,τι χαρτί και να τραβήξω, βγαίνει θάνατος. Και γρήγορα κιόλας.
When Rapunzel passed through the portal, she landed in the middle of the kingdom of Sa. Her emotional shock caused her to unleash a dark energy pulse that caused massive earthquakes and eruptions while also turning many creatures into fearsome beasts that ravaged the kingdom. She lost her memories and remained amidst the rubble, where King Henry of the neighboring kingdom of Kir found her in one of his expeditions to escort the survivors safely to the other side of the Mountains of Division. Henry was captivated by Rapunzel's beauty, and he sensed that she was not from this land. So, he brought her to the palace of Kir and gave her the name Servina, as her hair turned gradually red.
Αυτό που βλέπω στο κεφάλι σου πάνω είναι δικό σου, μαλλί.
Είναι δικό μου,
δεν το φοράς το πρωί και βγαίνεις.
Όχι.
Much like Mother Gothel, he kept her protected in the walls of his palace, and he married her in a ceremony that few noble and royals attended. But soon monsters started appearing in the kingdom of Kir. And the fields, the forests, and even the small settlements were not safe anymore. At the same time, Rapunzel, still without memories, started having nightmares of scenes from her past. She then dug her name from the depths of her mind.
Why am I so mad? Who the heck is Len?
Not knowing why, she decided to follow her instinct and sneak out of the palace. One thing was certain to her: the endless void in her heart. Rapunzel headed south, and there she befriended Jack, keeping her identity hidden, posing as a castle maid.
Δεν είμαι εγώ, είμαι η εξαδέρφη μου. Άλλος χαρακτήρας. Καλό κορίτσι, καλό.
She did not know that the boy that stood in front of her will become her father. But something inside pushed her to trust Jack. He, on the other hand, loved Rapunzel from the first sight but could feel that her heart was out of reach, enclosed in thick walls that he tried to bring down. Rapunzel continued to visit Jack, and he introduced her to his mother and his friends, and for a while all seemed normal. King Henry monitored Rapunzel closely, and of course he knew that she was sneaking out of the palace, and he spied on her during her breakouts. Things did not seem dangerous yet, so he allowed it. Good times never seemed to last, however. The animal folk of Vadrina village hosted a festival, and many people came from nearby towns and villages. Theo Barrett with his wife and children from their mansion in the forest. March the hare with many carrier bunnies from his manor, bringing gifts from far and wide. Folks from the Duchess Duchy and the idyllic town of Bochum. And even survivors from the kingdom of Sa that were allowed to settle in the southeastern borders, founding Cotrau village. As the festival was in full swing, Rapunzel and Jack headed for a stroll in the eaves of the forest.
Bella! Where the hell have you been, Loka?
Then Rapunzel pulled 3 beans from her dress. She explained to Jack that she stole these beans from a hidden safe in the palace and that they can be used to travel between realms. My mind is still hazy, but as you might already have guessed, I am not from this realm. I don't remember why, but I must return, said Rapunzel as she threw 1 bean in the ground. The bean quickly grew roots and transformed into a world tree portal. Jack was heartbroken, but he realized that she would never be happy in Wonderland. Sadly, Rapunzel could not step through the portal, and after a short time the portal shut down. Devastated, she concluded that only residents of this realm can use the beans to travel elsewhere. There, King Henry found them and tried to force his wife back to the palace, Servina, I have turned a blind eye for far too long. The kingdom is no longer safe. The savior must be protected until the right time. You will return with me to the palace and never leave its walls. This realm is yours now.
Άσε με ρε μαλάκα! Άσε με!
Κατάει! Γιατί να σ' αφήσω μωρή τσουλάρα για να πάει να βγάλεις τα μάτια σου με το φοιτητή!
Jack was left in shock and confusion. They have heard that there was a new queen in the capital, but was she Rapunzel all along? And thus, Rapunzel awakened her lost memories that swept her mind like a flood. The years spent in the tower and the fall of Prince Zarathus. And whatever Mother Gothel tried to stop by pushing her through the mirror, now exploded inside her.
Now I understand!
Her hair glowed a fiery red, and she ripped the heart of King Henry as he stood motionless like a puppet. Jack cried, "Rapunzel? What are you doing? Who are you?" And Rapunzel, with no remorse, answered, "No one will keep me contained anymore. I will spare you this time, Jack, but don't stand in the way of my justice, for it will crush you as it will crush them." And as she finished her words, the king transformed into a vicious dragon under her control, the Jabberwock. And along with other monsters that appeared, they wreaked havoc on the festival and the village. Jack's mother, Theo's family, and many more innocent citizens met their demise. Jack arrived too late to save anyone. Heartbroken, he vowed to stop Rapunzel and redeem the lost souls. He declared that the monsters killed Rapunzel too, burdening himself with the deadly secret. By having the king directly under her control, as well as dominating the hearts of people and beasts alike, Rapunzel rose as Servina, the Queen of Hearts, an authority figure obsessed with the courthouses. And people were beheaded for whatever reason she chose.
Yeah! Where my people at? Where my people at?
Meanwhile, she managed to keep the beasts in the wilderness, but when a village or a town would disobey her, she would unleash the beasts on them as divine punishment. And so, the terrible decree of Valle Clausura was established. Using the people's safety as an excuse, Servina enclosed each town and small territory in guarded borders. No one could enter or leave without permission from the state. And the roads were monitored closely. And if someone would choose to travel through the woods, even if he managed to outrun the monsters, he would always lose its way in the enchanted forests, and no news of him would be heard ever again. Rapunzel succeeded in making everyone feel as she felt her whole life. Contained, restrained, caged.
This was my moment. It isn't a joke to me. This is real, and this is my life, and this is something I've waited 24 years for.
The only exit that was left, the two remaining magic beans that only Jack knew existed, they were entrusted by the Queen to the Duchess. No one remembered how old the Duchess was, few knew her name was Ananke, and maybe no one knew that she was an avatar of Goddess of Necessity. She was a quirky lady that most despised, as she had some authority over her land, and she had no love for the people. After the nearby wetland turned to a dismal mire due to the sickness of the realm, her duchy welcomed more residents in a strange symbiosis. The roads closed, and families and friendships were torn apart as the distances grew unbearably. And trade was diminished, and the poor became poorer while the rich nobles in the capital of Adeline enjoyed their feasts. Of the other three royal families, the Trefoil and Soupe families perished soon, as they joined their forces, rebelling against the state of Kier unsuccessfully. Hope remained, however, as the heads of the families, Smari Trefoil and Pix Soupe, evaded capture and disappeared without a trace in the unclaimed northern seaside territories. The last royal house, Berlian, a house without blue-blooded, stood neutral and maintained a close relationship with the Kiers. The head of the house, Navi Mesto Berlian, the only known sorcerer in Wonderland, was appointed head judge of the Supreme Court. But wise and cunning as he was, he immediately recognized the signs that the prophetic doom is coming. And though he couldn't paint the whole picture, he suspected the involvement of the new monarch, and he posed as her close ally. Secretly, however, he created the persona of Sood and founded and funded a resistance consisting of multiple, small rebel cells across the kingdom from people he trusted the most. The resistance gradually grew in numbers, and it managed to withstand the iron fist of the queen under the guidance of the keen strategist Navi Mesto. But the queen was content with dominating hearts and waiting for the prophecy to come and engulf all in destruction.
I feel very attacked!
Relax.
When 1 year has passed since the arrival of Rapunzel in Wonderland, the group of heroes crossed the Pool of Tears and were guided by Jack to the celebration in the racing grounds that was cut short by the attack of the beasts, most notably the fearsome feline Bandersnatch. The safety of Vadrina village was ensured thanks to the combined efforts of the heroes, Tempu, the white rabbit with strange time powers, and Navi Mesto, who arrived with the spiritual healer Pola from the north.
It's so sad indeed.
It was here that Navi Mesto understood the important role the heroes would come to play in the events to come. Furthermore, Reyna traveled to the realm of the dead where she met Raven Queen, an avatar of death, but she returned thanks to the combined sacrifices of the group. After Jack declared that Rapunzel was long dead, the heroes decided to follow him to Theo's mansion, who seemed to have a plan to bring back the bliss of the past.
Εγώ θα ακούω την κυρία Σούλα. Και πολύ καλά θα κάνεις να δεις μεγάλη προκοπή. Γιατί και εμείς την κυρία Σούλα ακούμε. Μεγάλο χαΐρι έχουμε δει.
So, they passed through Kotra village of the survivors. There, the village's leader Raja, a beautiful black woman, explained their plights, but the heroes decided not to intervene. Merlin, however, wearing an illustrious hat and playing as the ultimate witch, gifted a large amount of gold to the village. And there the legend of the ultimate witch was born. Because when Kotra village will be destroyed in a terrible fire, Raja, following a fiery signal in the sky, will lead her people to the north, deep in the forest where they will establish the woodland sanctuary. And there the legend of the ultimate benefactor witch, with the big hat, will be passed down to the next generations. After a brief encounter with Caterpillar in Cheshire, who declared that he kidnaps people for sport, the heroes crossed the mushroom forest and reached Theo's mansion, where the servant Glyris welcomed them and prepared the garden tea table. Theo, a man in his 40s wearing a top hat, explained that Father Kronos visited him in his dream and urged him to find him in his house on the top of Jub Jub Mountain.
Ξύπνα, κορίτσι μου. Ήρθε η ώρα να φτιάξεις το πρώτο σου αφάμι.
Ναι, σε ξέρω. Ποια είσαι τελικά? Και γιατί με βοηθάς?
Theo thinks that Kronos can rewind time and let them evade the sorrowful disasters. Jack thinks that by rewinding time he can stop Rapunzel from becoming evil, but he keeps his motives to himself. Journeying to the mountain tops, the group passed through the woodland sanctuary that has grown much since its establishment in the past future, and they quell the destruction caused by the misguided druid Erglas. Merlin inspires a young boy, Tommy, a descendant of Raja, obsessed with the legend of the ultimate witch, to pursue magic practice and gifts him a water gem for a rainy day. Tommy would devote his life in the study of magic, and his bloodline would inherit his talent until magic becomes inherent in their bodies. From this bloodline, House Berlian would be born, and every heir would safeguard the water gem and imbue it with power until the time it was fated to be used. As it turns out, the mountain is dying and its protector, the Jub Jub bird, has gone mad. The springs have been contaminated with time essence and the soil withers, and all who drink from the water are lost in endless visions of timelines, witnessing the truth of this world just like Aeglas.
Αυτός είναι φυτό. Κοίτα ύφος. Η ευτυχία της γελάδας όταν είναι στο λιβάδι.
Tempu yet again appears and helps the heroes defeat the Jub Jub while informing them that his job is the erasing of time paradoxes, as he is a servant of Kronos, who indeed lives on the mountain top. In the House of Time, after solving various riddles and glimpsing into other timelines, the party meets Kronos, who is busy working in his attic. Kronos views them as a variable that must be eliminated to stabilize the realm. But Theo, desperate to reunite with his family even in another timeline, shoots the time wheel, absorbing Kronos inside him. Theo thus loses his mind as he lives simultaneously in all the divergent timelines.
Γιατί δεν κάνουμε μάθημα, κυρία?
Κάθε μέρα μάθημα θα κάνουμε. Ας πούμε και μια κουβεντούλα.
He remains stuck in a never-ending tea party with his family, Glyris and March, becoming known as the Mad Hatter. He also believes that time holds a grudge against him. However, in a glimpse of clarity he reveals that Rapunzel is alive and that Jack is lying, but no one believes him due to his demeanor. Time becomes even more convoluted in Wonderland, freezing places, aging and de-aging people and creating illusions of the past.
Ποιος είναι? Ποιος είναι? Ποιος είναι εκεί?
While resting at March Manor, the party receives a letter from the Duchess who invites them to aid her in fixing the situation. Jack, realizing that this might be his only opportunity to steal the beans, he disappears and monitors the group from the shadows.
Και εμείς είμαστε έξω στο μπαλκόνι, στον έκτο, σαν τους μπούφους. Τι να κάνω?
Πίδα!
Reina and Merlin travel to Limbo where they greet Raven Queen, but they are brought back thanks to the sacrifice of Sassiuri's and Wusung's bond. The heroes learn that the Duchess is the sister of Kronos and that she exists in different avatars, a baby, a young woman named Adrastea and the elderly Ananke, sharing the obsession with need and necessity. They also explore the estate and learn of her treasures and of the beans she keeps safe. The Cheshire Cat helps the heroes reveal the mystery of Petit Chu, the monster of the swamp that kidnaps lizard folk. And the Duchess spins the fabric of time and space, stabilizing the realm and evading decapitation by the Queen, and fixing the bond of the party's warlock. Although things seem fixed, the decay of the land, the disasters and the ravaging of the monsters grow exponentially. Finally, the Duchess grants the group passage to the town of Bochum where they hope to join the resistance. However, the group is arrested while staying at Bochum and they are led to court, being accused of stealing the Queen's beans from the Duchess. During the trial presided by Navi Mesto, a bean is also found on them, further worsening their stand. When the verdict seems to have been decided, the doors open and Servina enters the courtroom stating the truth. Jack stole the beans and framed the group so that he can use the beans to leave the realm and find the savior. Jack finally reveals that Servina is Rapunzel and uses one bean to open a portal to the Blessed Dominion, vowing to find the savior in return by using the other stolen bean.
No, hey, I'm talking.
Okay, my apologies, Miss Girl.
Miss who?
She's not a girl. It's Miss Toller.
It's Judge Toller. Be quiet. I have a question.
The resistance troops attack the courthouse, and in the ensuing chaos, the group are invited by Sood via a note to the abandoned logging camp. There, they find the secret way that leads to Burlian Keep, the hidden base of the resistance. Navi Mesto reveals his second persona, his heritage, and the plan to defeat the Queen and save the realm, asking the group to have faith in Jack and search for the legendary artifact that can kill all beasts. While the heroes wait for Jack's return, they first enlist factions from the northern seaside into the resistance, most notably the ostracized royal families and their naval companions. Then, they infiltrate the capital city of Adeline to ease the grip on the resistance hub led by the fiery-tempered Siscolian. The party learns that Adeline was the name of the legendary hero that saved Wonderland. It is said that she lost her family during the catastrophe but became an inspiring leader and rebuilt the realm from its ashes. To honor her legacy, the first city took Adeline's name. The group made a new enemy, the Moonstalker Guild of Lycanthropes that had infiltrated the noble courts to seek magic items. The heroes also cleansed Elsa's Carnival of Sin, where they learned that the 9 Hells and 7 Heavens are planning something big. They also meet Rumpelstiltskin again, who hints that his investigation proved that Rapunzel is not his child. Finally, the heroes forge the legendary Vorpal blade to defeat the Queen. While all this was taking place in the strange timeline of Wonderland, Jack passed through the portal and found himself in the Blessed Dominion about 20 years before the departure of the heroes. He tries to acclimate to this new land, and while searching for the savior, he joins the castle staff in the service of Prince Frederick. In one of the hosted balls, Jack meets Ariana Glinda and he is mesmerized because she makes him feel as in Rapunzel's presence. The pair have a secret affair, as Ariana is pressed to marry the newly crowned King Frederick. Ariana ends the affair one night before the wedding, when she and Jack have sex for the last time, and she gets pregnant with Rapunzel, but all think that the baby's father is Frederick. Jack continues to be in the king's service and stays close to Ariana, trying to persuade her to venture with him to Wonderland as she is the savior. After the failed assassination attempt, Gothel, who has long known that Ariana had a secret affair, opened a portal to Wonderland so that Ariana can leave with Jack and erase her traces. The pair arrive in Wonderland and a big earthquake occurs and deep trenches tear the land, while the winds howl from every direction. A meeting is hosted by Navi Mesto where Jack is reunited with the heroes, and he introduces the savior. Ariana panicked and stated that her name is Alice, the first name that she could think of.
Χαίστηκες.
Πάψε, Βελένη.
Χαίρομαι πολύ, δεσποινισμένη. Κακά. Έκανε κακά του, δεν σου είπα εγώ, χαίστηκε.
Despite her hiding her powers, when she touched the blade, its magic properties were activated. Navi Mesto declares that Alice is not a proper name for this hero. He declared, "Let it be known that from this moment on, this woman answers to the name Adeline. For just like the legendary hero of the past, she will avert the catastrophe and usher a new age of peace."
Άρα χαθες Μαρίνη, κάθομαι και σ' ακούω. Γκούρι, ζούρι, βούρι. Δεν καταλαβαίνω γιατί με λες τόση ώρα. Και ζούμπι, ζούμπι, γιατί με λες συνέχεια.
Ζούμπι, το κατευτικό του ονόματός σου. Σήμερα το έβγαλα.
Πότε?
Όταν ήσουν υπόθυμη.
Καλά μάνα, τι πανέξτητη είσαι. Εγώ ήμουν σε κόμμα και εσύ με κάνεις βαφτίσια.
With renewed strength and the prophecy's fulfillment at any moment, the heroes help the resistance formulate the plan to attack the capital, while parties from all over Wonderland rush to help the cause, as the old world burns. The animal folk of Vadrina Village, the emissaries of the Woodland Sanctuary, the bunnies from March Manor, the Quatoa and lizard folk from the Duchess Duchy. Also the griffin and dragon turtle from the coast, and Lucian's water elementals carrying Sheila's and Aaron's ship with the royal house members on board. Siscolian and her troops created a diversion from inside the castle and Navi Mesto formed an illusion of the Jabberwock outside the castle to help, but the queen had other plans. She appeared on the high wall with the king, he ripped his heart and he transformed into the real Jabberwock just as many of the castle soldiers turned to dark beasts, revealing the queen's secret powers.
Baby, you can't read the doll.
The party faced the fearsome dragon during the siege and when he reached his limits, he accumulated dark power that would incinerate the whole plane. But Navi Mesto broke the ancient water gem that Merlin had gifted to Tommy, and formed a water barrier around the beast that absorbed the blast. And thus, the water gem was used in a dire moment to save the day, as the ultimate which had intended. The king, having returned to his original form, in his final moments gifted the heroes a shard of his memory. And so, the group learned the whole truth about Rapunzel's rise as Servina, the Queen of Hearts, and they rushed to the palace to confront her, while the natural disasters ravage Wonderland across corners. The closer Alice Adeline Ariana Glinda draws to the palace. Is Elphaba here? She would wonder, as she remembered the state of Oz, her homeland.
Mukuro Ikusaba, the 16th student, lying hidden somewhere in this school, the one they call the ultimate despair. Watch out for her.
During the final battle with Rapunzel, she reveals the true extent of her powers and the state of her mind. She is ready to embrace destruction and sink the realm in darkness, while hinting that there may be a connection between herself, Rumpelstiltskin, and Merlin. At last, the heroes subdue her, and her masquerade mask burns away, revealing her face. Then Alice in shock approaches her, and Jack shouts, "Stay away from her, Ariana, she is dangerous still," revealing the identity of his lover to the group. It can't be. I would recognize my girl in every realm and every time. How is it possible? I just left you in Locasta's care. Rapunzel scorns her mother for abandoning her to live her love and shows no remorse. Then, when the two women touch, the power inside Rapunzel resonates with the remnants of the sinister power inside Glinda, and a huge dark wave is created that marks the end of the world, while Rapunzel's body drops lifeless in her mother's arms. And when the columns and the ceiling of the palace would crush the party, suddenly time stops. The debris are floating, the tornadoes stop spinning, the mountains stop sinking, and the explosions freeze in place. Then Tempo walks in clumsy as always, holding his pocket watch, stating that he is late yet again. There is nothing that can help Rapunzel now. Whatever essence kept her alive is now depleted, as it merged with whatever residual essence was left inside you, Adeline, while you were carrying her. Whatever Nessarosa did to save the child, it worked, but the magic has been drawn, possibly siphoned elsewhere.
Είναι η κυρία Βουνελάκου που έχουμε τηλεφωνική γραμμή.
Χαίστηκα.
Σας παρακαλώ! Ελάτε τώρα. Παρακαλώ, κυρία Βουνελάκου. Σας παρακαλώ πολύ.
The baby was sick, because it was a spawn of worlds where time works differently, Wonderland being one of them. Jack, in horror, realized that he is the father of Rapunzel and felt appalled at having romantic feelings for his daughter. As he falls to the ground, the last magic being dropped from his jacket. He never used it to return to the realm, as Gothel opened the way for them. I am responsible for this suffering. I will fix everything, Ariana. I swear on our love. And he used the last magic bean to return to Mercia, hoping that it will guide him to the past. Instead, the bean, or rather the cruel hand of fate, leads him to the moment when his alternate self had just left with Ariana to Wonderland. He spent the rest of his life searching for a way to return to his lover in vain. He died as an elderly man, deep in the mines, having traded the only thing from his homeland, a heart-shaped necklace, meant to be a gift to Ariana when the battle would end, for a chance to see her image again thanks to the powers of the siren. Back in Wonderland, Tempo reveals that he is another avatar of Kronos, that tries to keep the existence of the realm by keeping all the loopholes. He was the one that sent the dream to Theo, so that Father Kronos, who tried to unwind the loops, could be pushed out of the scheme. Tempo explained to the heroes that much like Oz that rests in a dreamlike state, Wonderland exists in a perpetual time loop to keep the darkness from consuming it. Tempo explains that Ariana does not simply share a name with the hero of the past, but instead, she is the hero of the past, that will rebuild the kingdom and leave a legacy of kings. And during the reign of King Henry, Rapunzel and a version of the heroes will arrive again and cause the loop to reset. Your child cannot be brought back. But you can still save everyone, Glinda. Use the last magic you have and combine it with my fading power. Oz's seal will continue to exist, because as the loop remains, a version of you will always be alive in the timeline. As for you heroes, do not be sad. That is our way to survive. You have a far more important task. Find the root of this dark magic. Why did it curse 3 realms? When the root is cleared, everyone will find their happy ending. And then Tempo sacrifices himself to give Glinda the power to stop the disaster, while his watch opens the dimensional portal that transports the heroes over the ruined Wonderland and back to Mercia, through the mirror in Gothel's tower. But when they set foot, Merlin collapses to the ground.
Τα πόδια μου δεν με βαστούνε. Νιώθω ότι θα καταρρεύσω. Νομίζω ότι θα του παραδοθώ.
That's the bitch that I know. I don't know yet, Mom.